In ancient Rome, the Stoics did not view self-care as indulgence or escape from duty. They understood it as the cultivation of inner strength, the forging of character, and the daily practice of living according to nature and reason. These were not philosophers who retreated from the world, but senators, emperors, and advisors who faced war, political intrigue, exile, and death while maintaining an unshakable inner peace. What made their practices powerful was not complexity, but relentless consistency. They did not need retreats or expensive treatments. They needed only a willingness to examine their own minds, question their assumptions, and align their actions with virtue. The Stoics understood that freedom comes not from controlling external circumstances, which is impossible, but from mastering the one thing we truly control, our own judgments and responses. Today, I want to share with you 17 Stoic self-care habits that have helped people maintain clarity, courage, and calm for over 2,000 years. Number 1. Premeditatio Malorum, the negative visualization. Each morning, Marcus Aurelius would remind himself that he might encounter difficult people, betrayal, frustration, and obstacles. He did not do this to become pessimistic or anxious, but to prepare his mind so that when challenges arrived, he would not be surprised or thrown off balance. The Stoics called this practice Premeditatio Malorum, which means the premeditation of evils. By imagining what could go wrong before it happens, you remove the shock and emotional disruption that comes from unexpected difficulty. When you have already considered the possibility of failure, loss, or disappointment, these things cannot ambush you. Your mind has already made space for them. This practice takes only a few minutes each morning. Before you begin your day, spend a moment considering what difficulties you might face. Perhaps a meeting will go poorly. Perhaps someone will criticize you. Perhaps you will not accomplish everything you planned. Acknowledge these possibilities calmly, without resistance, and remind yourself that you have the inner resources to handle whatever comes. Then, when challenges do arrive, you will meet them with composure rather than panic because you have already rehearsed your response. Number 2. The morning tribunal. The Roman Stoic Seneca wrote that we should set up each day like a judge examining evidence, asking ourselves what we accomplished, what we failed to do, and how we might improve. But before the day begins, there is an even more important examination, clarifying what truly matters. Before you allow the world to pull you in 1,000 directions, sit quietly and ask yourself a simple question. What is essential today? Not what is urgent, not what others demand, not what would be impressive, but what actually moves you toward the person you want to become and the life you want to live. The Stoics understood that most of what fills our days is trivial noise. We spend hours on things that will not matter next week, let alone next year. By beginning each morning with this question, you create a filter that helps you recognize what deserves your time and energy and what can be released or ignored. Write down the 1 or 2 things that are truly essential for this day. Everything else is secondary. When distractions arise, and they will, you can return to this morning intention and realign yourself with what actually matters. Number 3. Amor Fati, love of fate. When Marcus Aurelius faced plague, war, betrayal by trusted allies, and the death of his children, he had a choice about how to relate to these circumstances. He could rage against them, wish they were different, and poison himself with bitterness. Or he could accept them fully, even embrace them, as part of the natural unfolding of life. He chose the latter, and the Stoics called this practice Amor Fati, love of fate. This is not passive resignation or pretending that bad things are actually good. It is the recognition that what has happened, and resisting reality only creates additional suffering on top of the original difficulty. When you practice Amor Fati, you meet whatever life brings with acceptance and even gratitude, understanding that every experience, pleasant or painful, is shaping you and teaching you something valuable. This does not mean you stop trying to improve your circumstances, but it means you stop fighting with reality itself. You acknowledge that this moment, exactly as it is the only moment available to you, and therefore it is the perfect moment to practice courage, wisdom, or patience. When something goes wrong today, pause and say quietly to yourself, "This too is exactly what I need." Then look for what this situation is teaching you and how it is making you stronger. Number 4. The Dichotomy of Control. Epictetus, who spent his early years as a slave before becoming one of Rome's most respected philosophers, taught that all of human suffering comes from a simple mistake, trying to control what we cannot control while neglecting what we can. He divided everything in life into 2 categories: things within our control, our own thoughts, judgments, intentions and responses, and things outside our control. Other people's opinions, the weather, the past, the future, our reputation, our health, and nearly everything else that happens in the world. Most people pour their energy into the second category, becoming anxious and frustrated when they cannot control outcomes. The Stoics did the opposite. They focused entirely on what they could control and let go of everything else. This is not a one-time insight, but a daily practice. Throughout your day, whenever you feel stress or frustration building, stop and ask yourself, is this within my control? If it is not, you are wasting your peace on something you cannot change. Redirect your attention to what you can control, how you think about the situation, how you respond to it, and what action, if any, you will take. This simple question, repeated consistently, will transform your relationship with stress and difficulty. Number 5. Memento Mori, remember you will die. The Stoics kept death constantly in their awareness, not to become morbid or fearful, but to live more fully and intentionally. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself regularly that he would not live forever, that each day might be his last, and that time was the most precious resource he possessed. When you truly internalize the fact that your life is finite, and that the number of days remaining is unknown and limited, trivial concerns lose their power over you. Arguments that seemed important reveal themselves as petty. Grudges that you were holding become absurd. Time wasted on activities that do not align with your values becomes obviously foolish. Memento Mori is not a depressing practice but a clarifying one. It brings what matters into sharp focus and burns away what does not. You can practice this by spending a few moments each day reflecting on your mortality. Imagine that today is your last day and ask yourself, would I be proud of how I spent it? Am I treating the people I love with the care and attention they deserve? Am I pursuing what truly matters or just filling time? This awareness of death does not make life darker. It makes life brighter, more vivid, more real, because you stop sleepwalking through your days and start living them deliberately. Number 6. The view from above. When you are caught in the middle of your problems, they feel enormous and overwhelming. Your perspective is limited to your immediate circumstances, and everything seems urgent and significant. The Stoics practiced a technique to break this narrow focus by imagining themselves rising above their immediate situation, higher and higher, until they could see their city, their country, their continent, and finally, the entire earth spinning in space. From this cosmic perspective, your problems shrink to their true size. The argument you had this morning, the mistake you made at work, the slight you received from a colleague, all of these fade into insignificance when viewed against the vastness of space and time. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Perfection of character is this, to live each day as if it were your last, without frenzy, without apathy, without pretense." The view from above helps you maintain this balance. It prevents you from treating temporary setbacks as catastrophes, while also reminding you that your actions still matter within your small sphere of influence. Practice this by taking a few moments when you feel overwhelmed. Close your eyes and imagine yourself rising up, seeing your building, your neighborhood, your city, until you can see the whole planet. Notice how your problems look from this height. Then return to ground level with this broader perspective intact, ready to act with wisdom rather than reactivity. Number 7. Voluntary discomfort. While most people seek comfort constantly, the Stoics deliberately practiced discomfort to build resilience and freedom. Seneca recommended regularly sleeping on a hard floor, eating simple food, wearing plain clothes, and doing without luxuries that you normally enjoy. This is not about punishment or asceticism for its own sake. It is about training yourself to realize that you can be perfectly fine, even happy, without the comforts you think you need. When you know from direct experience that you can sleep well without a soft bed, that you can eat simple food and feel satisfied, that you can be cold or hot without suffering, you become less dependent on external conditions for your well-being. This freedom is immensely valuable because most anxiety comes from the fear of losing what we have. When you practice voluntary discomfort, you discover that loss is not as terrible as you imagined. You can handle it. You can adapt. You are stronger than you thought. Start small with this practice. Take a cold shower once a week. Skip a meal occasionally. Turn off the heat and wear layers instead. Walk in the rain without an umbrella. Each time you choose discomfort voluntarily, you are proving to yourself that you are not a fragile creature who requires perfect conditions to function. You are resilient, adaptable, and far more capable than your comfort-seeking mind wants you to believe. Number 8. The evening review. Seneca wrote that he ended each day by examining himself like a judge reviewing a case. He asked himself 3 questions. What bad habit did I cure today? What vice did I resist? In what way am I better? This practice, which the Stoics called the evening examination, is one of the most powerful tools for personal growth because it transforms experience into wisdom. Without reflection, the days blur together and you repeat the same mistakes indefinitely. But when you take even 10 minutes each night to review your actions, you begin to notice patterns. You see where you acted with virtue and where you fell short. You recognize triggers that lead to poor decisions. You identify opportunities you missed to practice courage or kindness. The evening review is not about harsh self-criticism or guilt. It is about honest observation and gentle correction, the way a good teacher might guide a student. Sit quietly before sleep and mentally replay your day. Where did you act in alignment with your values? Where did you let fear, anger, or desire control you? What will you do differently tomorrow? This nightly practice compounds over time, gradually refining your character and helping you become the person you want to be. Number 9. Speaking less. The Stoics understood that most speech is unnecessary and often harmful. We speak to fill silence, to impress others, to defend ourselves from imagined attacks, or simply out of habit. Epictetus advises students to be silent most of the time and to speak only when necessary and then briefly. This is not about being unfriendly or withholding kindness, but about recognizing that words have weight and should not be scattered carelessly. Every complaint you voice reinforces the pattern of complaining. Every criticism you speak shapes how others see the person you criticized and how you see them. Every boast diminishes you slightly in the eyes of others and in your own estimation. The Stoics spoke carefully and sparingly, understanding that silence often communicates more wisdom than words. Practice this by setting an intention each morning to speak only when your words will improve upon silence. Before speaking, ask yourself, is this true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? If the answer to any of these questions is no, remain quiet. You will be surprised how much of your habitual speech fails this test, and how much more peaceful your mind becomes when you stop filling it with unnecessary words. Number 10. Turning obstacles upside down. Marcus Aurelius wrote one of the most famous lines in Stoic philosophy. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is the Stoic practice of turning obstacles into opportunities, of finding the advantage hidden within every difficulty. When your plans are disrupted, instead of becoming frustrated, ask yourself, how can I use this? A cancelled meeting gives you unexpected time to work on something important. A criticism reveals a weakness you can improve. A failure teaches you what does not work and points you toward what might. A difficult person gives you an opportunity to practice patience and understanding. The Stoics did not merely endure obstacles, they actively looked for ways to benefit from them, to extract value from adversity, and to become stronger precisely because of the challenges they faced. This is not positive thinking or pretending that bad things are good. It is a practical skill of finding the useful response to any situation. Practice this by changing your automatic reaction when something goes wrong. Instead of immediately thinking, this is terrible, ask instead, what can I do with this? How can this make me better? Every obstacle has a gift hidden within it, but only for those who are willing to look. Number 11. The reserve clause. The Stoics never said, I will do this, without adding an important qualification. If nothing prevents me, if fate allows, if it is in accordance with nature. This was not pessimism or lack of commitment. It was the recognition that we control our intentions and efforts, but not outcomes. When you attach yourself rigidly to a specific outcome, you set yourself up for disappointment and frustration because outcomes depend on countless factors beyond your control. But when you practice the reserve clause, you commit fully to your effort while remaining flexible about results. You say, I will complete this project to the best of my ability if circumstances allow. I will help this person if they are willing to receive help. I will pursue this goal with full effort, understanding that the outcome is not entirely up to me. This small shift in thinking creates enormous freedom because your peace of mind no longer depends on things you cannot control. You did your best. You acted with virtue. If external factors intervened, you accept that calmly and adjust your approach. Practice the reserve clause by adding this phrase to your plans and goals. I will do my absolute best, and then I will accept whatever results come. This is not giving up, it is wisdom. Number 12. Sympathia, cosmic interconnection. The Stoics believed that everything in the universe is connected, part of a single living system. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we are like limbs of a larger body, meant to work together for the good of the whole. When you harm another person, you harm yourself. When you help another, you help yourself. This understanding changes how you relate to others, especially those who annoy or oppose you. Instead of seeing them as enemies or obstacles, you recognize them as fellow parts of the same cosmic body, doing the best they can with their current understanding. This does not mean accepting harmful behavior or failing to protect yourself. It means responding to others with understanding rather than hatred, recognizing that their faults come from ignorance or pain, just as yours do. Practice sympathia by reminding yourself throughout the day, we are all connected. The rude stranger is struggling with something I cannot see. The difficult co-worker is acting from their own fears and limitations. The person who wronged me is a fellow human being, flawed like me, deserving of compassion even if their actions require consequences. This perspective does not make you weak or passive. It makes you wise and free from the poison of hatred and resentment. Number 13. Living according to nature. The central principle of Stoic ethics is to live according to nature, which means accepting the way reality actually works rather than wishing it were different. We are rational beings capable of examining our own thoughts and choosing our responses. We are also mortal beings living in bodies that age, sicken, and die. Living according to nature means accepting all of this fully. It means not expecting people to be perfect when humans are naturally imperfect. It means not raging against aging when aging is natural. It means not demanding that the world conform to your preferences when the world operates according to its own laws. When you align yourself with nature rather than fighting against it, struggle decreases and flow increases. You stop exhausting yourself trying to make reality different and start working skillfully with reality as it is. Practice this by noticing when you are resisting some natural aspect of existence. The fact that people disagree, that plans sometimes fail, that bodies need rest, that relationships change, that nothing lasts forever. Each time you catch yourself fighting reality, pause and ask, can I accept this as natural? Can I work with this instead of against it? This shift from resistance to acceptance is one of the most liberating movements you can make. Number 14. Premeditatio bonorum, positive visualization. While the Stoics are famous for imagining worst-case scenarios, they also practiced envisioning best-case scenarios, not to indulge in fantasy but to clarify what they were working toward and to motivate sustained effort. Seneca advised visualizing yourself as the person you want to become, living with the virtues you aspire to embody, and handling challenges with the wisdom you are developing. This vision serves as a guiding star, helping you make daily decisions that move you in the right direction. Spend time regularly imagining your ideal self, not in terms of wealth or status, which are outside your control, but in terms of character. How does the person you want to be respond to insults? How do they handle failure? How do they treat others? How do they spend their time? The clearer this vision becomes, the easier it is to notice when your actual behavior deviates from it and to course correct. This is not about perfection, which is impossible, but about direction. Are you moving toward the person you want to be or away from that person? Let your vision of your best self guide you back to the path whenever you stray. Number 15. The sacred pause. Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space lies your freedom and your power. The Stoics understood that most suffering comes not from events themselves, but from our immediate, automatic reactions to events. Someone insults you and instantly you feel angry. A plan fails and immediately you feel discouraged. But what if you could create a small gap between the event and your reaction? What if you could pause just long enough to choose your response rather than being controlled by impulse? This is the practice of the sacred pause. When something happens that triggers a strong emotion, instead of immediately reacting, take a single breath. This tiny pause interrupts the automatic pattern and gives your rational mind a chance to engage. In that brief moment, you can ask, is my initial reaction serving me? Is there a wiser way to respond? What would my best self do here? Most of the time, the answer that comes after this pause will be different and better than your automatic reaction would have been. Practice this relentlessly. Every time you feel a strong emotion rising, pause and breathe before you speak or act. Over time, this pause will become natural, and you will find yourself responding to life with wisdom rather than reactivity. Number 16. Philanthropia, love of humanity. Marcus Aurelius began each day by reminding himself that he would encounter difficult people, the meddlesome, the ungrateful, the arrogant, the deceitful. But he also reminded himself that these people cannot truly harm him, because they cannot damage his character unless he allows it. And he reminded himself that he shares a common nature with all human beings, which means he is made to work with them, not against them. This is the practice of philanthropia, recognizing the common humanity in everyone, even those who oppose or annoy you. When you practice philanthropia, you do not take other people's behavior personally because you understand that they are acting according to their current level of wisdom and character, just as you are. Their rudeness reflects their inner state, not your worth. Their criticism may be valid feedback, or it may be their own projection, but either way, it does not define you. Practice this by responding to difficult people with compassion rather than defensiveness. Silently acknowledge, this person is doing the best they can with what they know. They are struggling, as all humans struggle. I can respond with patience and kindness without being harmed by their behavior. This stance does not make you weak. It makes you unshakable because your peace no longer depends on others treating you well. Number 17. Gratitude practice. Epictetus taught that we should be grateful not only for what we have, but grateful that we have anything at all, since we are not entitled to any of it. Every moment of life, every relationship, every possession is a gift that could be taken away at any time. The Stoics practiced active gratitude, deliberately noticing and appreciating what they had rather than focusing on what they lacked. Marcus Aurelius wrote long lists of people he was grateful for, specifying what he had learned from each one. Seneca recommended regularly imagining that everything you have has already been lost, and then looking around and feeling grateful that you still have it. This is not about pretending that everything is perfect or denying real problems. It is about training your mind to notice abundance instead of only noticing scarcity. Most people focus on the one thing that is wrong while ignoring the 99 things that are right, and this focus creates a constant state of dissatisfaction. Practice gratitude by ending each day with a simple question. What am I grateful for today? Write down 3 specific things, no matter how small. The warmth of the sun, a kind word from a stranger, your body's ability to heal a cut. The more you practice this, the more your brain will naturally notice things to be grateful for throughout your day, and this shift in attention will transform your experience of life. These 17 practices are not meant to be adopted all at once, because transformation happens through consistent small actions, not dramatic overhauls. Choose 1 or 2 that resonate most strongly with you and practice them daily until they become natural. Then add another. True self-care in the Stoic sense is not about comfort or pleasure, though these have their place. It is about building a character that can face anything with courage, wisdom, and calm. It is about becoming the kind of person who cannot be broken by external circumstances because your peace comes from within. The Stoics faced unimaginable challenges: war, plague, exile, torture, death, and yet they maintained an inner tranquility that allowed them not just to survive, but to live with dignity and purpose. Their wisdom is not ancient history. It is timeless truth, as relevant now as it was 2,000 years ago, waiting for anyone willing to practice it. I hope you find in these practices the same strength and freedom that generations of Stoics have found. Thank you for taking this time with me today. Take good care of yourself.